Malo lele, malo e tau lava, and welcome to 531 PI. We're celebrating Tongan Language Week. What a better way to celebrate than through our language, our stories, and our music. Joining us in the studio today is the Tongan artist Folau, a Pacific Music Award finalist who's also had 3 appearances on the official Aotearoa music charts this year. He just released a deeply personal new single, Mamahi Moe Kona, a song reflecting on grief, loneliness, and the people who shaped us the most. Folau, malo tau lava, malo lava le soe fua ma le langi ma. Welcome to 531 PI.
Hey, malo Tonga, thank you so much for having me, man.
Folau, just before we get into the kōrero, let's give our 531 PI listeners a taste of the new track. This is Folau with Mamahi Moe Kona.
Na ke palone si mai kia te e ke alu peka ke toki ha ui no pe honi ngoa o si no na ko e kukoloa o eni te utali atu pe e ke foki mai ko.
That's Mamahi Moe Kona from Folau, right here on 531 PI. Folau, let's start right here where the heart comes from. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you grew up in the villages in the Kingdom of Tonga you call home.
Yeah, malo lele, ko winga ko Folau. Born and raised in Australia, but I grew up in Tonga. I come from the villages of Makave, Koloa, Whalewai, Taunga Vavau, Niwa Fo'ou Ewa, Hala o Vave, Maufanga Popua Tonga Tapu.
First of all, congratulations on the new single.
Thank you.
What was it about the music, like in your home growing up? Was it always around you?
Yeah, man, I would say, music was always around me. My father's family, they're heavily rooted in the Sias Tonga Tawataina, and, church music is 24/7, so just growing up and listening to all the choir rehearsals and all of that, pretty much heavily influenced my, my singing background and all of that.
Let's talk about the story behind Mamahi Moe Kona. It's obviously a deep personal song, and you wrote and recorded in a single night following the passing of your grandparents.
Yeah. Was
that a sudden flood of emotion, or was it writing the song in a way to find some healing?
It was a sudden flood of emotion, like I've been sitting on that song for a while, but it was like I knew what I wanted to say and where I wanted to go with it, but for some reason, every time I'd sit at the laptop trying to figure out what I want to do, it just, the creativity wasn't really flowing. But then it wasn't until one of my producers, Wes, shout out to Marconi, he sent me this beat. And this one beat, as soon as I listened to it, I knew straight away that this is the beat that would actually help me carry that message through, And then and that night, wrote the song, recorded it, and that was the only recording I ever did because I felt like truly that how the song sounds now is exactly the vibe or the feel that I wanted to get through, And ever since then, I left it at that. All that needed to be done was just the mixing and mastering then. Yeah.
How much did your grandparents mean to you?
My grandparents means the whole world to me. What I know now, in terms of just, wisdom and knowledge, not only, I wouldn't have learnt what I know if it wasn't for them,
Amazing.
And I guess, that's what makes this Tongan Language Week special for me. It's just, I get to kind of share this song to everybody. But it's even more special because this is my first song that I've written in my own mother tongue, in the Lea Faka Tonga.
Something that you said about the song that really stayed with me, you said writing Mamahi Moe Kona reminded of who you are, allowed you finally to tell your story from your own perspective,
That's right.
Not anyone else's. What was it about writing the song that gave you that clarity?
A lot of the times, people will write a song for you and then you'll sing it, but it's just like you singing a song that someone else wrote for you won't be the same as you sing it, as you writing it yourself, because you truly know what you're trying to portray, And I guess, I finally had the opportunity to actually write a song about my grandparents, but from my perspective, what I saw, And you know, right off the bat, you know, my lyrics is not as deep as any other Tongan punake would say, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, this is I got to actually portray the story from my perspective, and this is my first ever Tongan song that I wrote, and you know, thanks to the help of my dad as well.
I think that's why when people get to hear the song, it would relate.
Yeah.
And I felt that listening to the song. It took me like how many takes? I did a magical thing where, as I've mentioned to many artists, I took the vocals out but play the sound.
The sound.
Oh, man, the story itself,
Yeah.
when you said it in the press release, it carries, you can feel the mawhana, the hurt, and that personal journey by the beat.
Yeah.
When you take the audio or the lyrics out of it. But that's something that sort of shared with you. Something that I started creating.
Man, that's
To find the story.
That's
and
buzzing me out because, you know, like I kind of wanted the listeners to kind of get a feel from my lyrics, like my vocals and that. But, you know, it's amazing that you can feel that just by listening to the beat. Because, you know, intentionally I wanted the lyrics to kind of portray the grief, you know, the hurt, the pain, and then have the beat portray like hope. You know, give everyone hope that there is hope after grief, and you know. But it's cool, man. That means a lot.
Well, as we were talking about the beat and music, because you blended island reggae, R&B, Pacific soul with the lyrics that carry a lot of the emotion we just spoke about. How did you find the balance between making something so vulnerable and still creating music that lifts people?
Well, during the process of creating this Mamahi Moe Kona, I was trying to think of a way where like I can try and put a sad song into a beat where it still feels like it's uplifting, you know what I mean? And like I said, when Makoni flicked through that instrumental, I knew straight away that this was it because it wasn't doing too much. You know, it laid down the foundation of what I feel like would fit into like a modern music vibe, you know, like especially what everyone's dropping now. But at the same time, have my lyrics portray what I want everyone to hear and feel, and then just having the instrumental kind of give the listeners hope, you know, and anyone who's been through it, they would hopefully know that there is hope at the end of grief and all of that.
Amazing. We've come to the amazing part, as we mentioned earlier, and of course, celebrating Tongan Language Week continues to have a strong presence in your music. How important is that for young Tongans hear the language in your music being made today?
That's very important, you know. We grew up in New Zealand. It's a very diverse country. And I guess, you know, a lot of the times when you listen to Tongan music, you're reminded like, oh, I'm Tongan. And, you know, for those that are starting to lose touch of that Lea Faka Tonga, you know, hoping that my Tongan music will help them kind of learn the Lea Faka Tonga again, you know, or get into it again, like, yeah.
Because your music is reaching listeners right across Aotearoa, right across Australia, but of course, home, what we call the Pacific Islands. What has that been like to see people connect with your lyrics and sound?
That's always a dream of me when I create music. I always want everyone to feel the same feeling that I'm feeling, you know, like I want everyone to relate, you know, and I want everyone to catch the same vibe that I'm catching. But yeah, like I think, you know, it's such a humbling thing for me to see everyone enjoy it and relate to it and vibe to it.
Well, let's pick up the momentum. Let's talk about you appeared in the official Aotearoa music charts 3 times this year, and also Pacific Music Award. Has that momentum changed in the way you approach music, or are you still keeping the process pretty grounded?
Nah, yeah, I'm always gonna keep the process grounded, you know. It's, man, don't get me wrong, I know I'm truly grateful, you know, like it's I'm really blessed and grateful and fortunate to be on the music charts 3 times this year, and you know, obviously the PMA nomination, but you know, like that's not really why I create music, you know. I feel like I create music to obviously, you know, for the listeners to relate to and all of that, and then all the recognition and that coming after, you know. But don't get me wrong, man, I'm truly grateful for it, but I feel like there's more to music than, you know, getting awards and all of that.
Amazing. What's next for Folau?
A single coming up next month. This year my goal is consistency. So I've been trying my best to drop a song every month. Got a song for the rest of the year, and then hopefully an album next year.
Ooh, album. Look at that. I'm already feeling the vibe here. And before we wrap up, I want to come back to the heart of the song. Grief is something that we all carry.
Yep.
We don't always talk about it openly. For someone that's listening right now, who's missing someone they love, what do you hope they feel when they hear Mamahi Moe Kona?
You know, I hope they feel and understand that there is someone out there that understands, you know, and that there is hope at the end. A lot of the times, like, let's say, you know, funerals, you know, you have families and friends all over the world who come in for the funeral, and then when the funeral is done, everyone leaves one by one. And then it's just you by yourself. That's, you know, but I don't think anyone understands that when it's just you alone, that's the hardest part of that process, you know,
Morning.
is trying to get through that by yourself. I just want everyone to understand that, you know, there are people out there that understands, you know, we've been through it, and that's exactly why I wrote Mamahi Moe Kona, is so, you know, when you listen to it, you'll know that I know what it feels like and I understand, and, you know, we're all in it together.
Folau, thank you for being so open with us, for sharing your story behind the song. Now, for all our listeners who want to follow and want to keep up with your music as well, how can they do this?
You can find me on all social media platforms at Folau Music, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, SoundCloud and YouTube. So make sure you go and follow me and subscribe to my channel.
There you have it, whānau. Mamahi Moe Kona is out now on all streaming platforms. Make sure you show our local artists some love as we celebrate Tongan Language Week. It's great to see our language, our stories continue to live through our music. Folau, malo lava le soifua.
Thank you so much, Togawa. I appreciate you for having me.